Lee Giho, known in-game as Mose, stares into thin air and revels in the feeling of Circuit, a unique virtual reality game with unprecedented success and realism. A nearby player yells at him to get off the field if he's going to just stand there. Mose apologizes, and the man tells him that, since they're both cleaners, they should stay out of each other's way. Due to the unrivaled success of Circuit, money and items within ended up having greater value than real-world currency. Though normal items aren't that valuable, items ranked as magic or rare are extremely sought after due to the additional stat points on the items. Since only one stat point is gained per level in the game, using an item with a +1 to a stat grants equivalent power to leveling up. Stat points govern one's physical abilities, so magic items with even a single +1 to a stat can easily end up being worth $10,000. If you take rare items into account, which have never appeared since the start of the game, it all falls to rumor, and nobody even knows if a higher rank exists. With magic rank items being the best that people know about, Mose and his fellow slime cleaners kill slimes, the weakest monsters that can drop magic items in the hopes of making money. The drop rate of magic items is so rare though that Mose has been hunting slimes for more than 2 months without even catching a glimpse of such an item. He decides to end it for the day and heads to the coastal city of Lindarok, where he tries to sell the slime materials and finds that the price is dropped by half in a single day due to just how much is being sold. Having only made 20 silver after an entire day of hunting slimes, Mose sees the equivalent of $20 for his work. As for all the work he's done over the past 2 months of hunting slimes, Mose only has 5 gold, the equivalent of $500, from selling various normal items and his beginner gear that could break at any moment. A new weapon alone costs 5 gold, and Mose resents the terrible luck aspect of the game as 2 months worth of effort in order to pay his tuition costs come to nothing. Even a part-time job would have been better, and Mose decides to quit after spending his 5 gold in-game, since exchanging it for money as the last thing he does before quitting would be anticlimactic. He goes around the city looking for something fun to spend it on and finds an item gacha which charges 5 gold for a single pull. The man in charge of the gacha sees Mose looking and tries to convince him to play, even going so far as to say he sees an incredible amount of luck flowing through him. But it isn't the first time he said that to someone that day. Since he doesn't expect much anyway, Mose buys one of the random item tokens and gets away from the crowd. He buys a room at an inn with the last of his money and thinks back on his time in the game before realizing all he ever did was try to catch slimes. His nostalgia vanishes and he activates the token. It lights up and a portal rips open in the air before an item gently floats down into Mose's hand. It's the first rare item he's heard of anyone in the game getting, a necklace that grants a total of 18 stat points and a health regeneration effect of plus 17.7 for the wearer and plus 4 as an aura. A streamer hosts a stream on Circuit TV and shares the news of the day's hot items. The first item, a ring that broke the record for selling for the highest price in the auction house at $72,000, is a rare item that gives plus 4 health regeneration per second. Notably, health regeneration is said to be the rarest magical effect an item can have, and at plus 4, the ring had the highest anyone had ever seen. With what very well might be the first rare item in the game, Mose finds himself completely at a loss at how much it might be worth. It could be worth even millions. That amount of money would completely change his life, but he wants to at least try the item on before he sells it. With stats like that, it could enable someone to even play at the level of a high ranker. His thoughts of quitting are completely forgotten, and Mose puts the necklace on. He experiences a few moments of intense pain, but finds that he can bend even a coin by pinching it between his fingers afterward. The grand city, Asparagon, sits in the center of the continent and serves as a hub for travel and raids. Mose travels to the city with the intent of joining a party, but he begins to have doubts when he compares how he looks to the gear all of the players around him are wearing. As he resigns himself to looking over the quest board for a solo quest, an archer approaches him and asks if he would like to join their party and fill their last member spot. The archer, Sharon, introduces Mose to her waiting party members who immediately question her choice. Mose certainly looks weak and only has beginner gear, but Sharon picked him because she has an ability that marks how strong people are, and Mose was clearly marked as the strongest person in the area. Not much later, the man in charge of the subjugation, who Mose instantly recognizes, appears. Silberun, the guildmaster of the Silver Guild and the famous magician Ranker. Rumored to be equipped with 5 individual magic items, Silberun addresses the larger group of parties gathered for the raid, which Mose learns is a troll subjugation raid. Though trolls are low-level monsters, they're extremely hostile and have a high regeneration power in addition to monstrous physical strength. They might be strong, but trolls are weak to fire and curses and are also slow runners, so they're not that difficult to hunt once you get used to it. More importantly, Mose is told that troll materials sell for pretty high prices, which is why big guilds usually monopolize the troll subjugations. Mose's party counts themselves lucky to be able to participate with a guild like Silver, and other players put on their best faces in hopes of being recruited. Giho, one of Moses' party members who's extremely helpful in telling him about the trolls, reveals that, just like Mose, he's playing the game to earn his tuition. Before they can talk much more, the groups are called together so that Silberin can give them the briefing on the troll subjugation. The Silver Guild has set up traps around the forest for the trolls to be lured into so that they can individually be incapacitated and killed. Since trolls are slow runners and aren't known for being smart, the traps should allow them to quickly and safely complete the subjugation. Giho notices that not a single member of Silver is part of the luring team. It's probably that since rewards are distributed based on contribution points, all of the Silver Guild members join the attacking team to monopolize the points. After the subjugation starts, one of the luring parties is ambushed by a horde of trolls in the forest, and the surviving player runs towards the nearest trap, a sticky oil trap that they find themselves caught in. The player sees Silberin and the members of the Silver Guild waiting nearby and hopes for a rescue, but then sees that Silberin was planning this all along as he annihilates the trapped player and the horde of trolls. Elsewhere, Mose and his party face against the troll field boss known as Black Mountain. Not long before that, Mose's party was walking through the subjugation zone while their tank player bragged about being able to solo a troll. The others made light fun of his boasting before the Black Mountain field boss launched a surprise attack, which brings us back to the present. Mose finds himself freezing up in fear as the troll field boss towers above him and emits suffocating amounts of bloodlust. Just as he's certain he's going to die, Sharon distracts the boss with a barrage of arrows while the tank runs in and uses his shield bash skill to knock the boss away. Despite the skill launching the boss back a few meters into the forest, it stands largely unscathed. Sharon's arrows prove just as effective as the shield bash and largely just annoy the boss. Giho begins to dig through his pack and explains that the Black Mountain is likely the quest's hidden boss. He pulls out a health potion for the tank and says that since they likely can't kill the boss, they'll do their best to hold out until the Silver Guild arrives. Mose mostly just watches the others fight and admires how they fight in sync with each other after all the time they've played together. He finds himself confused and feels a bit alienated for having spent 2 months just hunting slimes instead of having adventures like them. He's finally snapped out of it when the boss approaches him and attacks, and Mose is only saved when the tank knocks the boss back again and interrupts his attack. Gathering his resolve, Mose decides he's going to change and attacks the boss, only to have his sword snap in half as it meets the troll's wrist. The boss counters his failed attack with a simple punch and sends Mose flying, reducing his health to below 20 and destroying his gauntlets with the damage. The rest of the party continues to fight the boss, and the tank slams his shield down into the boss's foot. The troll lets out a pained scream before bringing its club down on the tank's head. Not far away, Mose sits up and rubs his head. Thanks to his necklace's regeneration effect, he finds himself at full stamina and health again and sees the tank block the troll's overhead blow. As the tank starts to crumple under the troll's strength, Sharon launches an arrow into its eye with pinpoint accuracy, and the troll responds by raining down more attacks on the tank. Before it can land the finishing blow, Mose runs at it without thinking and launches himself into it, surprised by his own strength as the troll goes flying away. The tank is gravely injured for only a moment before Mose's AoE healing from the necklace brings him back to full HP. The others are a bit confused by the abilities Mose is displaying, but their doubts are put on hold when the orc begins to stand again. Since Mose is weaponless, the tank throws him his two-handed sword, and Mose charges at the boss. Meanwhile, the Silver Guildmaster Silberin looks over his ill-gotten gains and thinks over how, since he clears all of the trolls and kills the players at each trap, he receives all of the rewards. Before he can continue patting himself on the back for his schemes, he receives a message that the troll's subjugation has ended with the troll leader's death. Since Mose's party killed the boss, they receive the highest contribution score and the most items, and Mose is awarded for having the highest damage contribution and the highest healing contribution. Sometime later that night, Silberin finds himself gravely injured against a rock wall. After they received the message for the quest ending, he and the Silver Guild went after Mose's party, but they were ambushed at some point along the way by the Dark Guild, who finished Silberin off. Back in Asparagan City's main square, Mose lays a ring on the trader's counter and requests the use of the auction house. He and his party received a large monster core from killing the boss, which acts as a sort of random loot crate. Mose's party members urge him to open the core since he had the highest contribution, and a barrage of messages appear with the loot as he does so. One of the best items to drop, a magic item called the Argon Mountain Strength Ring, is what Mose is trying to sell in the auction house. He isn't too sure about a good starting price, but settles on 80 gold, or the equivalent of $8,000 in real life. After it's done, he sits in his room at the inn and wonders if the price was too low. Mose then lies down and thinks over the day. He took down a troll in his first party hunt and got a lot of good items, and he even made his first in-game friends. How would his life have been without the necklace from the Gacha? He fully logs out and sits up in his apartment in the real world. Checking his phone, he sees a worried message from his mother saying that she sent him money in case he needed food. but he consoles her in a reply and says he'll be receiving his first paycheck in a day. Before he can even get too emotional, he sees fee messages popping up on his phone as transportation and phone fees are automatically paid. Finally, one more message pops up, and he receives the money from the items he put on the auction house, a total of $38,650.50. Having decided that his future is in circuit, Giho spends the rest of the day taking another semester off from college, sending his mother money, buying fitness equipment, and purchasing a special dietary supplement called powder from the circuit store, which the VR machine can nourish him with as he plays. Giho checks the news on his way home and sees his username Mose trending. He also sees that Silberun was found dead and that a guild is offering 500 gold for information on Mose. He imagines a future of guilds constantly trying to scout him and players trying to PvP him for clout. If that happens, his freedom in the game and future will go up in flames. Giho sprints home and logs in to immediately get as far as he can from Asparagon. He eventually finds a smithy in the village and has armor made from the Black Mountain Troll's hide, which ends up being a full magic ranked set that grants him a total of 32 stats, 118 defense, and 14.4 health regen per second. Mose thanks the smithy for making him such amazing equipment and heads out on his adventure. Rather than the adventure he was hoping for, Mose finds himself lost in the forest and sits down against a tree facing a cliff when he notices a draft coming from a depression in the ground. When he presses on it, the ground there presses inward, and the cliff face opens up to reveal a new dungeon, the Black Root Cave. It's pitch black inside, and Mose has to use an item to light the way. Deep within the cave, Mose finds a stone slate jutting from the ground with a memorial verse. As he reads the tablet, skeletons emerge from the ground and prepare to attack him. He might not have a combat class or any training with the sword, but Mose is able to fight the horde of skeletons and even explosively unleash energy from his body due to the insane amount of stats he has. The rest of the skeletons are defeated in short order, and Mose levels up twice before he hears a noise from even deeper in the cave, which he goes to investigate. He enters another cavern with a rancid stench and finds it littered with corpses. A pathway winds through the cavern and up a staircase to yet another slate. When he reads the slate, Mose sees the Imperial Army looting villages, killing villagers, and setting everything on fire. The slate is a promise of vengeance against them. A special rank B quest then pops up in front of him in a message window, a clash quest, to subjugate the leader of the Imperial deserters who was sealed away by someone named Morotal. With the activation condition being to speak the cursed words, Mose doesn't even hesitate for a moment and speaks. The rotting corpses and bones in the area gather up into a skeleton boss, who curses Morotal and emits an aura that makes Mose start shaking. While the boss towers over him, Mose speaks his judgment against the terrible skeleton and is met with a lightning-fast blow that launches him into the cave wall. As a named monster, the skeleton boss is far stronger than a normal monster, and one attack is enough to drop Mose to below 20% of his health. Still, as long as he doesn't die in a single hit, Mose's recovery effects from his items are enough to bring him back to full health instantly. The skeleton attacks again, and Mose finds that he needs to dodge predictively rather than reactively, due to just how fast the monster is. Having dodged the attack, Mose launches a counter that sends the boss to the ground, and he firmly believes he can win through the sheer power of being overgeared. Before Mose can continue his attack, the boss casts a spell and summons a sword from a magic circle beneath his feet while also going up in level. The boss moves again at lightning speed and slashes his sword across Mose's body multiple times before sending him flying again. Thanks to his gear though, Mose survives the attack. With 300 health and a recovery of 100 health every second, he can reach full health again with just 3 seconds of not being attacked. The boss attacks again, and Mose manages to redirect his blow and use the opening to land a solid strike against the skeleton boss's bone. Following with another counter to the same place that severs its arm, Mose pushes his advantage and knocks the boss down, pointing his sword to the boss's face. The boss questions who Mose is, but Mose goes on to highlight the boss's crimes and calls it a murderer. The boss tries to argue that they only did it because they were starving, but is that really enough of a reason to slaughter and burn an entire village? Of course, the boss believes it is, and any hope for redemption is lost as it goes on to view it as a refreshing memory. Having served 2 years in the military, Mose knows that a soldier swears loyalty to the nation and the people. The skeleton long ago left its military creed behind. He finishes off the skeleton boss and levels up 6 times while also receiving an achievement that raises all of his stats by 2. The boss monster's core floats in place, a crackling red orb that radiates with power. After he touches it, the orb explodes with loot. Most notably, the boss monster's glowing blue sword floats above the ground nearby. Upon examination, the sword is revealed to be Sharma, one of the 11 engraved swords, and a unique rank weapon, which is higher than any of the known ranks in Circuit. To think that Mose would be the first in the server to obtain both a rare item and a unique item. Is this the effect of having hyper luck? He approaches the sword, which engraves itself upon him and enters his hand as a mist, giving him a skill that enables him to summon it if he calls its name. Sure enough, the skill works exactly as described, and the sword proves to be an amazing weapon in every regard. Before he leaves the cave, Mose steps on something on the ground. He picks it up to find a unique ranked ring that will trigger a hidden quest, upon a specific condition being reached.
We hope you enjoyed the story so far. Check out Lucky Striker to see how Mose continues his lucky adventure.